All right. Hey guys, how's it going? It's Joy. I'm back again with another video. I hope that you guys are doing well. I got a like already. Thank y'all for the like. And I didn't even start talking. That's what's up. But yes, you guys, welcome to another video here at the Narc Free. Again, my name is Joy and I am a narcissist abuse coach. I've been dealing with narcissists since 2006, and since 2017, I have been helping former victims, now survivors, heal, move on, and recover after dealing with narcissistic abuse. So, you guys, please feel free to chime in on the topic today. This is not going to be too much of a long video unless, there's folks that come in the room, they want to share their comments and feedback, that kind of stuff. But basically, you guys, and thank you guys for the support, the continuous support, you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So basically, those that support the channel, give it likes, comments, share, subscription, that supported my business in any way or supported the channel, got the scrubs, books. Thank you guys so much. Please, please, please continue to keep doing that. Or left donations. And hi, Blue Flash. It's been a while. How are you? What's up, Blue Flash? So, yeah, you guys, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about overcoming unhappiness, the feeling of being unhappy after dealing with a narcissist. I feel like I've covered this before, to be honest. Just kind of touch up on it for those that are new. And then also just pretty much living a stress-free life, because I know that there is a lot of stress that a lot of people could be dealing with on a day-to-day. And you may be wanting to know, like, well, what do I do? And I know that especially if you've dealt with narcissistic abuse, the stress levels, the anxiety levels that you could be having, or the depression could be, times 10, or let's say it's at a 10 now, so it could be times 20. You get me? So, we kind of just want to talk a little bit about that. And honestly, that was something that I dealt with. So, that's definitely something that I could share with you guys. And maybe you can try to implement this in your life and see if it helps or not. And I'm good too. I'm good. Thank you for asking. Blue Flash, remind me, you are in another country, right? I want to say I do remember. Are you like in India somewhere? That's what I recall from the last time, because you used to join my lives. I want to say it was like back in 2020 or so. Yeah. So anyway, you guys, welcome. So let's get into, overcoming the feeling of being unhappy. So anybody in the room, you can say I, or raise your hand, or just, speak out on the chat and say if you can recall, being unhappy when dealing with the narcissist, or maybe, could be honest and say maybe you're unhappy now, or maybe some of you could be feeling lonely or sad, or just kind of feeling hopeless, or, unsure of the future kind of thing. Maybe you could be feeling some sort of uncertainty. I would love to know, but basically, how I was able to overcome those feelings of unhappiness, especially after dealing with the narcissist. I really kind of, as I always say, I kind of had to stop lying to myself, and stop kind of living in a delusion or a illusion, right? So I had to kind of stop pretending that, what was happening wasn't, or I had to stop pretending that what was happening. You get me? Like, I had to kind of come to that realization. I had to be honest with myself and say, what, hey, this may not be the best fit for me, or this may not be the right situation for me, kind of thing. So I had to get real with myself. And then once I was able to kind of get real with myself, it kind of made the pain, it kind of softened the wound a little bit. It stung a little less, if that makes sense. So I had to get real with myself as far as like what I was feeling. And then also I had to realize at the end of the day, like what happened to me, especially the abuse between my aunt and the male narc, wasn't really my fault. And any of the feelings that was attached to it, which was like sadness, anger, just feeling unworthy, unlovable, that those feelings were valid, but it really didn't define me per se. It was just kind of like I could allow myself to feel it. And then, once I feel it, I could kind of move on to the next emotion, which was kind of like peace, calmness, again, acceptance, forgiveness of myself and others, that kind of thing. So, I guess the other thing is overcoming the unhappiness is just kind of forgiving yourself. And I know sometimes that can be difficult, because I know a lot of us, we're so taught to forgive other people all the time that we forget that forgiveness goes for ourselves too. Like, we should be able to forgive ourselves, or look ourselves in the mirror and say, hey, you know what, Joy, I made a mistake. Or, you know what, Blue Flash, I kind of messed up here. Let me kind of just say, hey, you know what? It's okay. I'm a human. Humans are not perfect. So, kind of just talking to yourself and kind of just being there, and, nurturing yourself, and like kind of just supporting yourself, right? Or just being able to comfort yourself, right? And not being ashamed of that, or feeling like, oh my God, like I'm so stupid, or oh my God, like I should have known better. Like, no, it's okay. Like, not being so critical of yourself, not judging you, like overly judging yourself. Because I know the reason why you may be doing that is because, I'm pretty sure the narcissist was overly critical of you. The narcissist was probably judging you all the time, having these high expectations on how you should be, how you should look, or how you should dress, or other expectations that the narcissist could have had. And like I said, this could have been a family member. It could have been your parent. It could have been an aunt or uncle, kind of like on my end, it was my aunt that I had this experience with, so that is something to keep in mind. And Blue Flash in India. Okay, yes, I remember. How is it out there in India today? Oh my God. I have an Indian subscriber. Wow. Yes, Blue Flash, share my YouTube on your page so that way we can reach more people in your country. Maybe somebody needs to hear the message. Are there a lot of narcissists out there in India, Blue Flash? Yeah, I remember before I was on a live like a couple years ago. I think you had came on, and even like 2022, 2023, you had kind of chimed in. So yeah, it's great to see you back. But yeah, you guys, I was just kind of thinking about that. I was just thinking a lot about how, we could just be filled with a lot of unhappiness. And sometimes, we could begin to feel sorry for ourselves, and we just kind of sulk in it, sulk in those feelings of just like, oh, this happened to me, which it did. It's not saying that we're not validating what happened to you, but you just kind of want to get to a point where I always say in the videos, you allow yourself to feel how you feel, like give yourself a time frame. For me, it was like 6 months to a year. For you, it may be longer than that, or it may be shorter than that time frame. Like for some people, it may take them 2 to 3 years or 4 years for another person, or for some it could take one person a month or two. It just really depends on the situation with you and the narcissist, and the dynamic on how things kind of played out, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that was just something that I was thinking about, overcoming unhappiness. Another thing that can probably help you to overcome unhappiness is you might want to kind of begin to get busy in your life. If you have a certain hobby or an activity that you like to do, or a project, it may be a good time to get active with that kind of stuff, and really just kind of, not saying that you are forgetting about what happened, because obviously, it was an experience. It did happen to you. It was real. Your feelings were real. Maybe the love that you had for that narcissist, or maybe the love that you try to have for your parent, that was real, or it could have been an in-law. Maybe you tried to get close to your in-law, or you tried to be a part of the family dynamic, and the narcissistic in-law kept rejecting you, or kept denying you, and did not want you to be a part of the family, because maybe they felt threatened in some way, or they felt like you was taking something away from them, which could have been their adult son or their adult daughter. The narcissist is very competitive when it comes to that. They have this sort of figure, or they have this position in the family where they feel like people have to come to them, or people have to answer to them. And if they feel like you're new in the picture, you could be potentially taking that spot away from them. So at all costs, they will do anything, whether it's control you, manipulate you, or just maybe try to make you feel bad. So maybe you can surrender, or maybe you can kind of comply, that kind of thing. So you just want to be careful about that. But, again, that can make you feel unhappy. Again, it can make you feel rejected. It may make you feel not good enough, or maybe make you feel like you made a mistake by being with the person you're with, because you're like, wow, like their family, your partner's family or your spouse's family doesn't accept you. They don't want to get to know you. Or maybe it's like, if they are trying to get to know you, maybe they could be trying to use that information against you at a later time, to maybe re-traumatize you, and that kind of stuff. So, and wow, you said it's a lot of narcs. Okay, and if you don't mind me asking, Blue Flash, what was like? Have you dealt with a narc yourself personally? Has that been your experience out there in India? And by the way, I want to say, have I ever tried Indian food? I don't think I've had Indian food yet. I may have. I'm trying to remember, because I know when I used to live in California, there was a lot of like Indian restaurants. But I don't think I've ever had Indian food. I was actually thinking about maybe trying some, but I'm totally open to. But I have tried a lot of different foods, and like I'm such a huge foodie. That's one thing about me. I love food, you guys. So yeah, and I love cooking. I love baking too. I'm a big baker. I like to bake. I like to cook. Um, I don't know if I share with you guys, I'm a pescatarian, so I love to eat like seafood. Most of the seafood that I like to eat mainly is like shrimp and fish. Those are like my top two. I have eaten crab in the past, like crab cakes. I'm not really a fan of like crab legs, but I do like crab cakes. I do like salmon here and there. But yeah, just a little fun fact about me. And as far as baking, I love to bake cakes. I'm a huge, I like to bake cakes. Yeah, I also like to make like homemade pizza too. I made homemade pizza. Also like soul food, like macaroni and cheese, greens, all that stuff. Candy yams, I'm a huge fan of that. But yeah, I like to eat. But anyways, you said, I found out no contact is the best solution for dealing with narcs. Absolutely. No contact. That is thumbs, what is that? Okay. And a thumbs up for sure. Blue Flash. Contact is probably going to save your life. It's actually going to help you to be drama-free, stress-free. And it can also, maybe protect your feelings, protect your emotions. And it could save you a lot of heartache, a lot of heartbreak, and it could just really, especially too, when it comes to your parents, a lot of people like, hey, you know what, Joy, I don't want to go no contact with my parents, but, and maybe I do want to make a video on this. Sometimes the less you're in contact with your parents, the better you feel. And gotta be honest, you guys, I'm not gonna lie, like me, myself, the relationship that I have with my parents has definitely been a journey. I'm pretty sure maybe you can relate, but over the years, I've learned that maybe the less that I talk to my parents, the happier I am. And it's nothing against them. Again, I love them dearly, both of them equally, my mom and my dad, but they kind of grew up in a different generation, maybe like as far as you and I. And I don't know, they just kind of operate on a different sort of frequency, a different point, a plane level, right? They operate like how things were in the past, maybe like in the 90s, the 80s, the 60s, the 70s. They kind of operate like that, and they want things to be their way. And it's just kind of like, we kind of, we're moving forward in the future, in the present, and it's like that type of mentality. Especially a lot of them, they're like, oh, you can't tell me nothing, it's my way or the highway kind of thing. And it's just like, wait, what's going on? So it's like you respect them. Obviously, you definitely respect them, and their position in your life, their authority. Obviously, they're your parent. They brought you into the world, so you definitely got to respect that. And like I said, I respect my parents 100%. It's just that, yeah, we're just different. We're living in a different generation. A lot of them feel like they didn't have the opportunities that we have now. And sometimes there's a lot of resentment in that. There's a lot of jealousy and competition when it comes to that. And sometimes they may not be as supportive as you would like. And sometimes that can hurt certain people, but yeah, you kind of have to just kind of take it and roll with it, and just understand that God will be there for you. God will support you. God will love you unconditionally, because that was the biggest thing for me. I felt that when it came to my parents, the love was not unconditional. And I don't know if they just never experienced that themselves, or they just maybe didn't believe in that, or whatever the case was. So I just kind of felt myself kind of wanting to, I'm again a cordial, cool, all good, but it's just more so like kind of wanting a little bit more, but also just kind of accepting how the relationship was, like not trying to force it, not making it a big deal. Hey, it is what it is, whatever, So, you said, excuse me, you said please try chicken biryani. Okay, is that an Indian food? But so I don't eat meat. Blue Flash, I'm a pescatarian. So I eat seafood, but no like chicken, no steak, no beef, no pork chops, no lamb, no cows, no lions, no snakes. um, no animals. I do actually eat eggs here and there. I haven't had egg in a while, but again, I do eat eggs every now and then. But no animal products for me. And it's been like that for a while. And honestly, I just felt that, I don't know, even when I was younger, like when I was 17, I had a reaction to, I think it was beef. It was like beef tacos that I had. I think I shared the story. And I will never forget that experience when I had eaten those, when I ate those beef tacos. It literally made my stomach, I had like bent over, like I was in a car with my cousin, and I was bent over and he was taking me back home, and I'm sitting here like, bro, like what in the world? Like, why is my stomach hurting this bad? And then also too, I'm pretty sure I shared the story with you guys as far as, how they, slaughter the animals before, they kind of make them into meat. They make them into the meat that, us humans consume and stuff like that. I was just like, I didn't really want to be a part of that. So that's kind of one of the biggest reasons why I kind of stayed clear from meat overall. But you never know how things are going to go in the future. But as of now, it's definitely been working. So I definitely feel a lot better in that regard. So, but yes, anyways, you guys, back to the topic. So in terms of, again, dealing with unhappiness, for me, again, after the abuse that I endured, one of the things that kind of helped me with my unhappiness, obviously, was talking things out with someone, as I always recommend, right? In every video, I had definitely talk to somebody as far as in a professional field, the mental health professional field, and also too, with trusted family and friends. And I could say, thank God, to this day, I have like maybe, I would say I can count my fingers on one hand that I could say that are truly, truly my friends, right? So, and that's a rare case, because a lot of times you may have people you think that are your friends and they're really not. And it is what it is. So the fact that if you do have like true, genuine friends, you definitely, it's best to like hold on to them and appreciate them, because most people, I hate to say it, but most people in the world are just not how you think they are. So, it is what it is. And as I always say, God can know a person's heart. Like, we could see the image of a person. We can get their personality, and maybe the way what they're presenting to us, but God can see who a person is behind closed doors. Or not only that, but God can see a person's heart. Like, because you can't see a heart, right? Because your heart is inside of your body, right? But the thing is, God can see a person's heart. Well, we can't. Well, I mean, we can see the signs. We could get some sort of intuition nudges, or we may have visions or dreams, could be trying to nudge us and say, hey, stay clear of this person, maybe something is off, but the thing with God is, God can see a person's true heart. They can see their true intentions, so it's always good to, that's why I love the relationship that I have with God, because he will really protect you. Like, that's the biggest thing that I truly love about God, is he is always looking out for your best interest. He always has your back, and he'll never disappoint you. So that's why I always keep God number one. I'm just saying. So yeah. And that's actually a good topic. God will protect you. God is always protecting us. But you have to keep him first, though. You have to keep him first, right? You got to keep God first. You got to trust him. You have to depend on him. You have to rely on him and know that he's going to get you to where you're trying to go. Like, that's one of the things that was my biggest thing when it came to like trusting God, because I was so afraid of trusting God. I actually do talk about this in my book called Your Pain Will Make You Successful. I highly recommend you getting a copy of that. But and also Reclaim Your Life Back. Highly recommend getting both of those books. But I just talk about how I was so terrified to put my trust in God, and I was thinking like, bro, like all this time I could have been putting my trust in God, and I just realized like, wow. But they say the student, whenever the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So I felt like, I was a student and I just wasn't ready at that time to put my full faith and trust in God. But now I'm definitely ready for that. So yeah. But no, I definitely love God. He's everything to me. And so let me see what else. And Blue Flash, you said crab claws, and okay, then try lobster curry. Okay, I would have to try the lobster curry. It's funny, I haven't had lobster in a while. I haven't had that in a while. So let me ask you this, Blue Flash. What's the main dish in India that is like the national dish that you guys usually eat? I know like curry, right? Curry, like chicken and rice or something. But tell me so that way I can know for future wise, if you don't mind me asking. What's like the main dish that you guys eat out there in India? But you guys, give me one second. I wanted to note this down as far as parents, Narc, parents. What else? So yeah. You want to be my true friend. Oh, that's so sweet. Honestly, it makes life easier, right? It makes your life stress-free when you can say like you genuinely have good people around you that you can trust. Obviously we know that God is number one, but it's like you may want to ask God, and I know I've asked God this too. I say, hey God, can you please bring people around me that are genuine and true? Maybe you may have to say that prayer. And then sometimes you may have to say the prayer because you may feel that there may be people around you that are against you. And you may have to say, hey, God, can you, if this individual or these people around me, that if they are not for me, can you please remove them out of life? And then what will happen is that person will either do or say something that will rub you the wrong way, or they'll just remove themselves out of your life and you'll like never hear from them. And that could be, God answering your prayers, because you may wanted to know specifically if this person is supposed to be in your life, or you wanted to know if this person has your best interest, or if they're genuine. Then God will reveal it to you. Honestly, I could say I've done that many a times, and I was kind of shocked at what the results. I was just like, oh, wow. So you never know. And my sun sign, I'm a Taurus. I'm a Taurus sun, I'm a Pisces rising, and I'm a Cancerian moon. So, and by the way, I think I did talk about this before. So with the sun sign, let me search this real quick so we can all just know, just in case if you guys want to know, well, how do I find my rising sign? How do I find my moon sign? And all that stuff. Let's see here. You can go to astro.com for more information as far as if you want to know more about like your birth chart, natal chart, that kind of stuff. So rising, sun sign, because there's basically meanings behind like the sun, the moon, and rising signs. So let's see. Okay, so basically it says your sun sign is determined by your date of birth and represents your core personality, your sense of self, basic preferences, romantic compatibility, and ways in which you move through the world. This astrological placement sheds light on your innate gifts as well as your hard to see blind spots. Okay, so that's your sun sign. So for instance, if you're a Taurus, then that kind of makes up like, your personality, your sense of self, your basic preference. Or if you're a Scorpio, same thing, core personality, sense of self, basic preference, right? All right, so rising sign. So what's the rising sign all about? So my rising is Pisces. So the rising sign refers to the zodiac that was rising or ascending, hence why it's also referred to as ascendant. and it says, in the eastern horizon, when you were born, it says, although the stars overhead may appear static to the naked eye, the scene overhead actually moves extremely rapidly. Okay, so it's also could be like a north node as well, right? But what is it specifically meaning in regards to your rising sign? Let's take a look here. Let's see. Rising. Okay, so it says the ascendant rising sign symbolizes the ability and the potentials of a person and how they react to the outside world and how they deal with certain situations based off of particular scenarios. So one moment here, you guys. This one is actually astrosofa.com, so you guys can check that out as well. If you want to know more about your rising sign, it's just more about like your personality kind of thing, yeah. So yeah, okay, yeah, it says it symbolizes the blue flash. Do you know what your rising and your moon sign is? I know you said you're a Scorpio. Which, do you know your rising and moon sign? They also have like Jupiter. I know that my I think, what is it? Is it Jupiter? It's something else. They have like Venus. They have sun sign, moon sign. Yeah, I think my Jupiter is in Gemini. There's something else too. Okay, let me see here. Let's take a look. All right, let's look at moon sign. All right, let's see. Okay, so the moon sign, it says here. Okay, your moon sign can reveal a lot about your personality, emotions, and intuition. An individual's moon sign is calculated using your date of birth. There's some other information. This is catherinebest.com. You guys can take a look. But yeah, it's just basically, it represents a deeper layer of the self and gives you clues about your emotional nature. So that's very interesting. So definitely check it out, if you're just trying to learn more about yourself. And this is actually good for you, maybe if you're dealing with a lot of unhappiness, especially after dealing with the abuse. It could be like maybe you have to figure out, like your personality, your core values, how you handle the like situations, how you view the world, kind of digging deep in terms of like, your overall perspective of like relationships, dating, life period, like overall, dynamics of situations, So yeah, but that I love astrology. I'm a huge astrologist. I love zodiac signs. And like I always say, I'm not into that, other stuff people be talking about. I don't do, the other things, but I try to keep it positive. I help people as far as clarity and guidance. Any of the other stuff, I'm not associated with that. So, just throwing it out there. But yeah, so I hope that made sense. And again, just living stress-free is just being kind of like, after dealing with the abuse, I know we're still attached to the narcissist. So sometimes you may have to try to start doing things to help you to detach, to kind of help you to, really separate yourself in a situation, have a different perspective, a different mindset about what happened, maybe kind of gaining the lesson from the situation, like understand, okay, what was this narcissist here to teach me? Like no matter who the narcissist was in your life, like I said, it could have been a parent, it could have been an in-law, it could have been an auntie or uncle, it could have actually been a boss. Like maybe, you never know, like it could be a boss that is a low-key a narc, or it could be a coworker or a colleague, or it may be like a business colleague. Like you never know, you know what I mean? And so it's kind of more so just kind of being like, hey, you know what? It is what it is. I'm not gonna like, not taking things personal. I know that's like easier said than done because, when things happen, it's so easily to be like, hey, you know what? That was all about me. That was like kind of personal, but you gotta kind of be like, oh, maybe that person could have been dealing with a lot. Maybe they could have had a lot on their plate, and just really not internalizing it, right? Like that was another thing for me in regards to overcoming the unhappiness is I had to realize I had to not internalize what happened, because again, it was a lesson. It was a lesson for me to learn and not to keep repeating it, obviously, but to gain the lesson from that experience, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, and then living a stress-free life is just kind of living your life for you, just doing what makes you happy, do what makes you happy, and be around people that make you happy. Be around people that uplift you, that encourage you, that inspire you and motivate you versus being around people that drain you, that are unhealthy and that may put you down or that may talk bad about you, or people that gossip and that are drama filled, and people that argue all the time, or people that are jealous and envious of others. It's like, you gotta really try to overcome that. And that's not easy, right? I know, like for me, I would say I really started on this journey, especially like when I decided to put my trust in God. That was mainly, I would say it started between 2021 and 2022. That was like kind of the biggest time where I had to trust God on this journey. And I said, you know what, God, I really want to have a pure heart. Like, I don't want to have any jealousy towards anybody. I don't want to have any enviousness. I don't want to compete with nobody. I don't want to compare myself with nobody. And I say, you know what, God, I just want you to, not saying that I had those feelings, but hey, we're all humans. But I said, I want to let that go now and for the rest of my life. Like, I don't want to feel that. I don't want to think those type of thoughts. I just want to be at peace, and I want to have a pure heart. So I literally just kind of kept saying that, over and over, like daily. And slowly but surely, I found myself just kind of like just being at peace, like, and just genuinely being happy for others. And then in turn, that kind of let go of the unhappiness that I felt. And I didn't really do that specifically when I was dealing with abuse, but this was like along my spiritual journey. But that is something that can make you feel happier, because a lot of people get into that competitiveness, right? A lot of people are always comparing themselves with others or trying to measure themselves up to other people. And it's like, you don't have to do that. Like that's not going to, like, for some people, it may make them feel good or it may give them an ego boost. But at the end of the day, you're still going to be unhappy. You get me? So you have to be focused on like yourself, meaning like you have to, like, you shouldn't have to measure yourself up to anybody else, because it's like you are unique. Like, there's nobody else in the world like you. So there's no reason to compete with anybody, right? So that's another thing, is like letting go of competing and being in competition with other people, being jealous and envious of other people. You got to let that go, and it's not easy, right? You got social media, you got all kinds of stuff going on, and it's so easy to do. But you got to be so like in tune with what you're doing in your own life. Like I said, if you have a project, hobbies, or an activity or something that can get you just excited and just enthusiastic, like, oh, like, yeah, I'm working on this project. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like, you don't have time to be doing that other small stuff. I mean, it just doesn't even register. Like, you're happy for other people. Like, oh, bro, like, I heard you're doing this. Like, congratulations. I see that. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, you don't, or like, oh, sis, like, that's amazing. Like, so, and again, I know that's not so easy to do, not in the way that the world is set up. And, it could also be too, like, some people probably had a family dynamic where, their parents, and this is another thing, the narcissistic parent will put the children against each other. The parent will be like, oh, look at Johnny over here, he's doing this, or look at Sarah over here, they're accomplishing this. And so, when one kid or when one adult child is not doing what the other sibling is doing, and the narc parent is like kind of controlling everything, and kind of like going like this with their fingers, like, oh, I'm getting everybody upset, I'm getting everybody mad. It's just kind of like, you find yourself kind of unhappy and not feeling good enough, and like, oh, dang, so you kind of just want to be mindful of that. It's like keep the attention on yourself. Keep the focus on yourself. Like what are you doing? Like what makes you happy? What inspires you? What plans do you have for yourself? What do you want to do this year? What do you want to accomplish this year? Or you know what I'm saying? Like that can also, hopefully help you to overcome the unhappiness, and also to just having faith in yourself, having faith that yeah, you can have a better situation or a better life or a better partner or you know a better way of thinking. Like you got to have faith. If you don't have faith, then what else do you have? You may have fear. So you got to let go of fear, right? And letting go of fear is not always easy because it feels so real. You're like, oh my God, I'm so stifled, or oh my God, like I'm never going to meet anybody else, or I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life, or I got to stay attached to this narcissist because maybe it could have been, who knows, whatever reason. Maybe the sex was good, or maybe they could have gotten you a lot of stuff, or maybe you guys traveled together, or maybe they made you really happy at once, and you don't want to let that go. Like you got to realize, like, what are your values? What do you believe that you truly deserve? So you kind of have to be the one to define that. So I hope that made sense. And Blue Flash, you said lots of dishes are here based on fish. Okay, cool. That's good. So I would definitely love India. That's for sure. Or I would love Indian food. That's awesome. You said my aunt Mark, and I'm no contact with her. Oh wow. Okay, man. Yeah. It's a lot of the aunties and uncles. A lot of the aunties and uncles are usually the ones that can be very narcissistic, very jealous, very evil. I hate to say that, but it's true. Yeah, very sinister, very egotistical. It is what it is, and a lot of times the narcissist is very unhappy. So that's why I say, like, you got to be careful of how much time you're spending with these individuals, or how much in contact you are with them, because they're going to make you unhappy. They're going to make you just like them. And now some people may be unhappy because of other reasons. It could just be, let's say this is not our narcissistic dynamic. Maybe it's just because other things in life. It could be maybe somebody feels like they want to have more as far as like, resources, or maybe somebody feels like they should be in a certain level in their life. That can cause a lot of unhappiness. And again, you just want to begin to just focus on what you're doing, block out the distractions, and be around good-hearted people, and just know that you're going to get to where you're trying to go one day. But you got to invest, you got to take your time, you got to be dedicated, and you got to obviously not give up on yourself. Don't give up on yourself, don't give up on God, because God will never give up on us. We will give up on God, but God, I'm telling you, because I don't know, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Back when this happened to me, back in 2014, I was really upset with God. I was so angry. I'm like, God, why would you allow this to happen to me? Like, out of all people, me. But I had to realize that God was using me for a reason. And I think he was trying to get me to help other people. And I said, okay, God, I see it. But I'm like, dang, why did I have to hurt that bad? I'm just saying. But no, yeah, God, like the way that God thinks, we will never understand. So that's why usually most of the time I try my best not to try to like think too much into it. I'm just like, okay, God, like I trust you. Whatever happened, and then it's time for me to move forward, kind of thing. So yeah. But that's basically it. I hope that this was helpful, for those of you that are dealing with unhappiness, and also just take it one day at a time. As we always say, take it one day at a time. Don't expect your unhappiness to go away overnight, because again, there could be a lot of anger that you're feeling, a lot of bitterness, a lot of resentment, and a lot of stubbornness, right? You could be reliving the moment, or you could be doing certain things that remind you of the narcissist, or you still may be in contact with them, especially like if you have kids, and maybe it's like you had the one experience that hurt you or that traumatized you, or you felt betrayed, and maybe it's kind of like you're going through it over and over again. So you're kind of dealing with the CPTSD, the complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So you're dealing with a lot of stress. You're still dealing with the abuse, and you're trying to manage it. And sometimes that's not always easy. So you got to be gentle on yourself, right? You really got to learn how to reparent yourself. You got to be kind to yourself, and you got to be with like your own best friend. You got to learn how to accept things that you can't change. You got to learn how to control yourself. You have to practice self control and allow yourself to feel how you feel. I mean, you're not always going to be happy every day. You're not always going to smile every day. You're not always going to be in the best mood, and that's okay. You're human. You're human. You're not always going to want to get up and go to work, or you're not always want to get up and take care of the kids. Maybe you might be feeling lazy, like, if your kids are of age, maybe like, son or daughter, go in the kitchen, make it yourself, kind of thing. And that could be another thing. Maybe you have kids with the narcissist, right? And now you have to, although you may not be feeling in the best mood, you're gonna have to force yourself to move past this experience and force yourself to heal, force yourself to, let go of the narcissism, let go of what they've done to you. Because that's the biggest thing that can bring another thing that can bring a lot of unhappiness, is because we can't let go of how they betrayed us. We can't let go of how maybe they deceived us, or we can't let go of the hurt, the pain. We can't let it go for some reason, and it may take you some time, and again, don't rush it. That's what I would say. Don't rush it. And, but yeah, it gets easier as the time goes on, right? For some. Now, some people they're like, Joy, you know what? I've been dealing with this memories, this pain just won't go away. Then that's a time to kind of dig deeper and to see what else is causing this unhappiness, right? What else is causing the stress? Because I feel like, stress, I feel like it comes when you're trying to force stuff, or maybe you're trying to control something that you don't have any control over, right? Or you want this certain outcome and you're not getting it. You're like, why? And it's just like, you kind of have to just accept it and surrender and be like, well, maybe God has a better plan. So anyway, I love you guys so much. I hope that this video was helpful and insightful. Make sure that you guys do give this video a like, share, and subscribe. I would love to know what was your biggest takeaway, if this was helpful. And yeah, I hope that this made sense. And also, you guys, don't forget, you guys got to try my sugar scrub, my natural sugar scrub. And as I said before, thank you guys to those of you that have supported and got my sugar scrub. I truly appreciate you guys. I do have my business cards here, so definitely try a sugar scrub. If you guys wanted to reach out to me any other way, you need someone to talk to, a support session, you need some confirmation, clarity, you can book a reading, or if you want to inquire about any other of my coaching programs, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I would love to support you, right? And as I always say, this information is on my website. You don't have to have insurance in order to talk to me, right? Because I'm not really like a therapist or anything, but I am a narcissist abuse coach. So I will, coach you on what has helped me. I give you advice, be a mentor for you. Or if you, like I said, if you just need someone to talk to, I don't mind listening in, because like I said, I have been in a space where when I was dealing with this, I didn't have anybody to talk to, right? I felt like no one understood me. I felt like people were judging me, and I know how that can feel. You may feel alone, you may feel like nobody gets you. You may feel like, wow, like I'm just really in this, it's just me and God. Like, it's literally, you feel isolated. You feel like, oh my God, like everybody else is out there living life and you're just sitting here unhappy, stressed out, depressed, right? That's another one. That's for another video, right? Overcoming depression, because you just feel, like I said, you feel like you don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to take a shower. You don't want to run your errands. And it's just, you kind of allow this experience to take full control over you. And that's not something that you want to give away. Don't give away your power, right? So anyway, I love you guys, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye. And before I go, Blue Flash, you said you're Christian. I think I'm Hindu. Okay. So, and by the way, let me clarify that. So I'm not a Christian. I'm definitely not a Christian, but I do believe in God. I love God. I was raised up in a Christian environment, and I respect everybody's religion. I respect it. But I'm a spiritual person. I'm a spiritual teacher. So that's a little bit about me, because the reason why I say that is because I feel like religion separates people. And for me, I'm all about kind of bringing everybody back into who they really truly are, because I feel like when we grow up in this world, or we're living this life, the people around us, I feel like they're kind of teaching us not to be our true selves. It's like over, like, because when you're a child, think about it, like when you're a kid, you're like, you feel like you can do anything. You don't have any fears, you don't have any worries, you don't have any doubts. But then as you get older, and the people that's around you, like it could have been like aunties, uncles, cousins, people that you went to school with, people you went to church with, they have these negative programs. They're talking down and say, oh, you're stupid, or oh, you're fat, or oh, you never make it, or oh, don't do that. And oh, you're going to be this way, or oh, you don't have that, or you don't have enough, blah, blah, blah. When you're a kid, you don't think that way, but you hear that over and over and over again. And after a while, after you hear something over and over, you begin to believe that as to be true. Even if it's not, it's just because you've heard it over and over again from many different people. And you're like, oh, this has to be true. But in reality, it's really not. So as you get older, you have to begin to reprogram yourself for what it is that you want. So, that's for another video. I don't want to make this video too long. We'll have to talk a little bit about overcoming negative belief systems, right? Because that's a big thing for that. That's another thing that can cause a lot of people unhappiness, is they have negative belief systems about people, about relationships, about how relationships should be, or maybe it could be about marriage, or whatever the case is. They feel like maybe they witnessed a dynamic within a particular situation. Maybe it's like their mom and their dad. Maybe they felt like their mom and their dad got divorced. Their mom and dad's not together, and they feel like, oh, well, I'm bound to feel this way, or I had this experience, so that must mean I'm always going to have that experience, or that must mean that now I got to protect myself and I can't get close to anybody because I feel like that's going to happen to me. So that can cause unhappiness too, because in reality, maybe you do want to be close to someone, but you're afraid you might get hurt. And I get that, because I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to get hurt either. Like, I'm pretty sure you don't want to get hurt either, right? So it's all of you trying to protect yourself, which is understandable, but again, that could kind of cause unhappiness, because in reality, you may not be getting what it is that you really want, and you kind of could be settling for less. So that's could also be causing a lot of unhappiness too, right? So anyway, I love you guys, and I will see you all in the next video. And don't forget, you guys, leave topics. Any topics that you want to learn, leave it below in the comment box or in the chat, so that way we can talk to each other and help each other heal. All right, I love you guys. Take care. Bye.